Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the run-up to Christmas and the actual Christmas holiday for today. We had a look yesterday, of course, and many of the models were looking quite cold yesterday. Been developments again, and it's looking much more unsettled now and not as cold through the run-up to Christmas and over the Christmas period itself. It looks like we're going to have a lot of heavy rain, and that could well be the main story of the run-up to Christmas. Some very heavy rainfall. Slow moving rain bands as well. Could well unfortunately be some flooding for some people for Christmas, so that will be very upsetting if that does occur. Now, before we get on with the video, I want to talk about the advertising. There'll usually be a video ad overlaying my weather videos at gazweathervids.com. Please play those videos. You'll be supporting gazweathervids.com if you do that. And I want to mention Gaz Shop. You can go to Gaz Shop, get your Christmas shopping from amazon.co.uk by clicking through the Amazon banner. 1 week to be Christmas Eve, of course, so you've just about still got time to get Christmas shopping from Amazon, and thank you very much for doing that. So let's get on with the video, and by the way, I should just mention I'm still suffering from a bit of a cold. It's quite a bit better than it was yesterday. I'm not coughing as much, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me a good deal better, but if I do have to stop and have a sip of water, I hope you'll just bear with me. So let's start for Thursday the 20th of December with the GFS model, and well, we've got the battle royale going on here really between low pressure in the Atlantic and high pressure up to the northeast. Now this high pressure has been an ever present sort of presence to the northeast of British Isles all month so far, and it still goes on. And if you saw the winter forecast, I'll just talk about this very briefly. If you saw my winter forecast, what I did right at the start of the month, I said that the very rapid gain in snow cover across Siberia was likely to teleconnect really to an increased and much stronger Siberian ridge, and I think that's what we're seeing here. The reason this high pressure is a continuous sort of omnipresent feature to the northeast, ridging into Scandinavia this winter, is down to that snow cover extent that we had through Siberia, the build-up, very quick build-up through October, and that connects to this increase in the strength and the position of the Siberian high. So we can expect this to go on sometime further. The models will constantly attempt to kill it off, and we'll actually have a look at it in a moment because they do that this morning, but I'm not at all convinced that will take place. I think this high pressure will continue right the way through much of this winter to be an ever-present feature to the northeast, trying to push back westwards. So, as I say, we've got the battle royale going on Thursday, the high pressure to the northeast, low pressure to the west. We've got weather fronts here across the British Isles, where we'll be bringing a lot of heavy rain through the middle part of the week. And as we move on towards Friday, well, that first weather system is actually sliding away into the continent, and the high pressure to the northeast is really starting to show signs of winning the battle, taking over the pattern. Now, remember in the weekend forecast on Saturday, we were talking about the mild push coming up from the Azores for the weekend. Well, now that really is struggling to take place because this next area of low pressure that was due to bring that to push of mild southwesterly winds is stalling as it comes up against this blocking feature over Scandinavia. So there's the blocking high still there over Scandinavia for Saturday. As I say, we're bringing this area of low pressure and this weather system in off the Atlantic, bumping up against this high pressure to the northeast. A real battle, atmospheric battle is taking place, and if we have a look at the temperature gradients for Saturday, we can see that the warm air that was supposed to be bathing the country on Saturday really is struggling to get in, and actually most of the country is in this much cooler air, and proper cold air is getting into the east and the northeast of the British Isles, associated with that ridge of high pressure over Scandinavia. Now, as we move through in towards Saturday lunchtime, that low pressure is still struggling, pushing up against that high pressure over Scandinavia. You would look at this, and very often you would think that the only direction for this low pressure to go is to slide southeastwards and turn the winds round to the east winds and allow this blocking high pressure over Scandinavia to win the battle. And that is what happens to a certain degree, but low pressure does actually slide away again in towards the Low Countries and Germany. But the problem we've got here is this ridge of high pressure building over Spain and Portugal. This is just a fly in the ointment, and it's stopping this easterly wind coming in and the high pressure taking over. Everything else really is, by the weekend now, looking set fair for this high pressure to take over and turn it much colder. But the one problem is this high pressure over Spain and Portugal just acting as a buffer really against this blocking area of high pressure up to the northeast. So as we go through in towards Christmas Eve, so this is next Monday, a week's time, the next low pressure starts to push in, and this high pressure just doesn't have enough in it to win the battle. And instead, the low pressure takes over for Christmas Day. We're in this westerly flow. Remember the GFS yesterday was showing a northerly wind. There's not really much sign of that at all at the moment, but we take this westerly flow in across the country on the Christmas Day, and that's maintaining to Boxing Day. And notice how the blocking has been killed off once we get to Boxing Day. The high pressure really forced right way back as a very weak influence in towards Russia and down into the southeast. I'm not sure about that at all. This is over a week away, and very often the models break down that blocking area of high pressure too quickly, so I'm not sure that these westerly winds will push in to this extent over Christmas. But nevertheless, this does look this morning like an unsettled and not particularly cold Christmas, with a lot of rain in the run-up to Christmas. Now, the ECMWF again shows the low pressure in the Atlantic and the high pressure to the northeast for Thursday. We've got weather fronts strung out across the country, producing a lot of heavy rain. And as we move on, well, that first weather system slides away into Central Europe. The high pressure showing signs of winning the battle here up to the northeast, stretching to the north of the British Isles. Yes, it does look from that point as though the high pressure is winning the battle. This next area of low pressure is again trying to push in from the southwest, but the high pressure at this point, Saturday, is winning the battle, and that low pressure has made very little progress 24 hours later. It's still stalling there down to the southwest of the country, with the high pressure over Scandinavia looking like it's winning the battle and looking like it's starting to take over. Pattern again, temperature gradients for Saturday showing the cold air is into the north and the northeast. The mild air down to the southwest is stalling, and it's having a real job to push in against that cold block of air that's sitting to the east of the country. As we go through another 24 hours to Christmas Eve, well, then we're starting to show the low pressure pushing in from the Atlantic, and we're taking more weather systems across the country now, again producing heavy rain. So there's from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday into Christmas Eve, there's a lot of heavy rain to come. So these weather systems push up against this blocking area of high pressure that could turn to snow for northern and eastern Scotland and northeastern England on the present charts we're looking at this morning. That could give us a snow risk for the northeast at the end of the week, over the weekend, and into the start of next week. Then as we get beyond that into Christmas Day, again this low pressure in the Atlantic takes over the pattern, pushes in this westerly wind, turns it unsettled and showery, and the high pressure that was blocking and holding off the Atlantic so successfully over Scandinavia back into Russia is collapsing away to the south. This low pressure is taking the westerly winds right way into central and eastern parts of Europe. Again, I'm not at all sure that the high pressure is killed off that quickly. And finally, have a look at the Canadian model, and again for the end of the week, we've got high pressure to the northeast, but low pressure to the southwest. Lots of heavy rain associated with that, and as we move through the charts, that low pressure is really struggling against that high pressure, but eventually it does push through. So by the time we get through to Christmas, the low pressure is taking over pattern. Actually a bit of a colder northerly flow coming down here for the north and west of the country on Christmas Day could just about produce a few wintry showers in the north. But really the story of the next few days, based on this morning's model runs, and we can expect further changes and adjustments from this, but the story really is those weather systems coming in from the Atlantic, pushing up against that block of cold air associated with the high pressure to the northeast and producing a lot of heavy rain. I can't emphasise this enough. It does look very, very wet for many parts of the country, starting Wednesday, going through Thursday, Friday into the weekend, and possibly still going on into the start of next week, Christmas Eve. Could be some real problems with flooding, but it doesn't look as though we're going to see anything particularly cold away from the northeast. But this on such a knife edge, it would only take very, very slight adjustments to start to bring in more of an easterly flow. So I'm going to keep looking at this because I'm not convinced that the models have totally got this nailed down for the end of the week, the weekend, and into Christmas. So I will keep an eye on it. But very wet. That's the main story this morning. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.